Hello.
What's up? How's it going?
Welcome back to America, the United
Thank you so
States.
much. Thank you so much. I
You're
am
welcome.
back from Jamaica. Is that what you're referencing? My my
Yes,
my
yes,
recent
yes.
trip to Jamaica? Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I was gonna say
Um,
what is a Jamaican greeting? That's how I was gonna greet you, but then I couldn't think of how. I don't know a Jamaican greeting.
Wagwan.
Oh, that's it. That is one. Did you hear anybody say that for real in Jamaica? Because you have been saying
I
that for
don't
like a week.
I don't think so. I heard some other tourists say it, but I don't think I heard any Jamaicans say it. But
Okay.
yeah, they say man a lot, definitely.
Hmm.
Yaman. Yeah.
Ah.
To men and women, which I thought was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yaman. Uh our caddy at golf at one point said, "Hear me now." I thought that was cool.
That is cool. That's a good one.
You know, I didn't know they said that, but that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It's good to be back in America, but it was fun. How was your week without me, even in the country?
It was good. It was pretty smooth. We got a whole roof up in the air, shorthanded, because not only were you out, but our other guy Nick was out. So I was proud of the progress that we made.
I am
Shorthanded.
so proud. Not only was it a lot to get done, like shorthanded, it like this job is just flying along. It's like
It is.
incredible where we're at because we started it. I want to say we've been there less than 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We like fully started framing, I feel like midweek of the prior week. And now the end of this week, roof is up, roof is framed, shingles are on, watertight. Um, Amazingly efficient, especially with everything going on. Me going to Jamaica, which probably helped out a lot, getting out of your way. Nick was out. So yeah, I'm like amazed by it.
Yeah. And we even like the access of this yard is wet, so we couldn't get the Moffat for deliveries back into the yard. So we even had to spend some time like on the first day we had to move a bunch of lumber to the back,
Yep.
but even while you were gone, we had to move a bunch of deck boards back. So that chewed up a lot of time and we were still ahead of the game. So it was pretty
Absolutely.
smooth.
Yeah, it looks like it because today is Sunday.
Hmm.
We didn't do the podcast on Friday because I was traveling back from Jamaica. And for the people, I guess that don't know, it was the Decorators Pro Summit. So it's a trip for like all the top contractors that get to go away, and it's mostly just relaxation. They have a couple like little events, but mostly just like hanging out with everybody else, which is really cool because you can talk about your business. You can have these little conversations and learn a lot about other people and learn a lot about things that you could be doing in your business. So that's why I was away, and that's why we didn't do it on Friday. So now it's Sunday morning, and I also got the amazing treat of being able to check out the YouTube video this morning of what you guys did all week, which is like my favorite thing of going away. So I really wanted to ask like Friday and Saturday, like, how's the video coming? Did you guys get enough footage? But I was like,
Hmm.
they know what to do. I don't need to micromanage from a foreign country. It's ridiculous. So I knew you guys would kill it, and you did. I loved the video. It was awesome. And it was really cool to see everything go, at least pretty smooth where you guys got so much done. I was like super impressed by everything. So proud of you guys. Not that I didn't think that you could do it because I know that you can. You guys are powerful beyond measure, more than more than you could ever even know. So
Yeah. Now, did you wait until this morning to watch the vlog? Because it was up on
I saw,
Friday afternoon, and you
I
waited.
saw, I waited. Yeah,
Wow, self control.
I
Proud of
did.
you.
Yeah, I mean, I did go on, and I think I looked yesterday just to see. Okay, it should probably be getting uploaded now. Let me see if it's going up there. And I
Hmm.
did see it. So not that I had any doubt, but you know me, I'm just so anxious when it comes to the video getting up and everything like that. So I thought it was awesome. Great job on the thumbnail as well.
Thank you.
I thought that was like perfect. It was from the ground. You could see the rafters. Half of it was sheathed. I thought
Hmm.
it just like was such a good angle. So great job on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
guys really killed it.
Ah, you know what? That means a lot. Thank you. It was a good couple
Appreciate it.
days.
I mean, you're welcome or whatever. Uh, what was like the highlight of your week?
um, the highlight of my week. I think that probably
Was it
when it comes
Monday before I left?
Monday was pretty fun. That was a pretty fun day. The ant was a little spicy and you were being like particularly annoying on purpose and it
It
made for
was
some
fun,
some
yeah.
comedy.
And I kept
um
talking in Jamaican accent.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, man. Wagwan.
uh but while you were gone, like on the day got the ridge in the air, it was Steve filming and then Ant, me and Jose, and
Yeah.
Ant was stressed. He was like, we're gonna do this, but it's gonna be terrible. And it like could not have gone smoother or easier, and everything was completely fine. So to have him at the end to be like, good job, team, I was like,
Yeah, I
you
saw
know
in
we
the
can
video
do
you were up there setting those rafters.
Yeah,
How was that? Was that it looked like you did a great job. I mean, it looked like it went pretty smooth, it went fast.
it did. That was
But I
another
feel
thing.
like
He
that was
was
probably your first time like up on the beam, like nailing off the rafters as they're all going up. Um
Yeah,
how was that? Was it cool?
we worked off ladders. We stand on the beam to nail the rafters, but this time we worked off of ladders because we had to keep getting down because we didn't have a person to hand us the rafters.
Right, right,
So it
right.
was a lot of up and down, and I wasn't like walking the beam like we normally do. But it was great. It was another thing that Ant was very stressed about. Which I mean, he gets stressed either way on like rafter day. So I don't think
It
that I
does.
wasn't taking it personally, um
Yeah.
but he, at the end he was like, "Wow, that was great. It went pretty smoothly." So no complaints. It went pretty easy.
Great
I think I,
job.
I think I did a good job. I mean, he marked the layout, so if something is wrong, then
It's his fault.
it's his fault, not my
That's
fault,
always good to have that to fall back on.
right?
Um,
No, I'm just kidding. It did go. It went perfectly smooth, and it was quick and it was easy, so it was good. And
awesome.
I'm glad that I'm usually not the rafter, or I've helped with the ridge before with like the genie lift, but I'm never the rafter person, so that was pretty cool. I was glad to be up there.
Yeah. Well, you killed it. I'm super, super impressed by everything that you guys got done this week. It was awesome, and I get maybe a couple takeaways from Jamaica because it was
Mm-hmm.
a really cool trip. Um, it's just great to be able to hang out with like other business people that are in the same industry, but this one is particularly cool because I just kind of get invited because of the social media stuff that we do, and I'm just happy to be invited. It's really cool. It's a fun trip. It's cool. So I'm really appreciative that I even get an invite to go to this because everybody else is like the top volume builders
Mm-hmm.
for the company, and it's so cool to get their perspective on just how they run their business and the the size, the scale, the systems, everything that they have in place to be able to build like hundreds of decks a year is so cool. And
Yeah.
I love it because I'm one of the only people there that is not building at that kind of volume. So, I think they also like to get some of my perspective on some of the social media stuff and the video stuff. So it's like really cool. It's not like, I don't know, like everybody I talk to, I have like so much to learn about just the scale of their business. And there's like little things that you can take away and figure out how to implement into a small business just to make it more efficient. And I love that. And it's also, you're at an all inclusive in Jamaica. So it's like,
Yeah, the scenery's not
that's
so
pretty
bad
cool
too.
by itself. So, a couple, so one, I thought that I was going to die at one point.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. We went golfing and
Mm-hmm.
our caddy was like so everybody had to get a caddy each cart. So there was two caddies per foursome, and they just like rode on the back of our cart. And ours was like this super old, like insanely grumpy guy. I didn't think he was actually going to kill us, but I thought like it could have been a possibility. But it was like it was like really scary. And
Who are you in the cart with?
I was with Mike Scott from Simcoe Decks.
Okay.
And it was just, it made the whole experience like he was like so grumpy and like, just like so over all of our antics and everything. And like, we're
Mhm.
not good at golf either. So, um, and then Mike decided not to listen to him on like what club to use for like on the second hole. And then after that, the guy was just totally done. And then I just kept yelling. I'm like, why aren't you listening to him? What is wrong with you? Listen to your caddy, you idiot. And, yeah, and then at one point, the other caddy like gave us some tips, and then after that hole, he like came over and like cornered us, and he was like, "I'm your caddy. Do not listen to him. He's not your caddy. I'm your caddy. He doesn't know what's best for you." Was that
Oh
good? That was a
gosh.
terrible Jamaican accent.
That you were kind of getting Arnold Schwarzenegger on that.
Yeah, it all kind of blends together, but it was but it was like scary because we were like, this guy, he might kill us. He's really
Yeah.
disgruntled. So
Oh, poor guy.
it was pretty fun. I have a picture of him too. Do you want to see?
Definitely.
Okay. Um, but it just like made the whole thing. It was ended up being like a really fun part of it.
That's nice. Oh yeah. He looks like he looks like he doesn't look like the guy from uh what's that golf movie?
Uh,
Man, I'm
yeah,
bad at
Happy
this.
Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kept calling him Chubbs. It was pretty funny. Um, it was awesome. We had a great foursome because like none of us are good. It was
Mhm.
me, Mike from Simcoe Decks, Leif's brother Tom from Cascade,
Mhm.
and Jamie Hassink. And none of us are good like
Oh.
at all. It was really fun, and it was great. It was great. None of us took it serious, and it was fun. So that was cool.
Did you do any other like planned activities other than golf?
No, that
Just kind
was
of free for all.
yeah, because we got there Tuesday, like mid afternoon. So we just like kind of chilled for a little bit. And then they had like a welcome dinner, kind of like cocktail hour thing. That was it. And then the next day was just like chilling by the pool, hanging out. And yeah, then Thursday was the only day with activities. And there was supposed to be a catamaran trip that everyone signed up for. Sarah was supposed to go on it, but the ocean was like insanely choppy like all week. Like it looked like terrifying, so it got
Oh.
canceled.
Oh, that
Um,
stinks.
I guess I don't see. I don't. There's something about like boat trips. I just like being stuck out on a boat with like I don't know a captain that you don't know. I don't know. I don't like that. So I wasn't gonna go either way, but
Like a Gilligan's Island situation.
exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like the seas are like so choppy and rough, and then like you're going on this little rinky dink catamaran.
Mm.
But and like kind of it would be even worse because everyone on the island would have like a similar skill set, like of just building decks. So like it really wouldn't go well.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh. All
but it
right. So
was a
what
great
were?
trip.
But wait, what were your business takeaways?
So some business takeaways that I got. Should we just jump into that? I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
So
it. You got anything else you want to talk about?
I guess that's it. No. So like I said, being able to hang out with other people that are in the same industry, but everyone is coming at it with a totally different perspective than me, especially because they're scaling the business, they're doing volume. And a couple of the things that I really took away from it was, well, number one, what we talked about, I don't think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, big jobs versus small jobs.
Hmm.
Almost all of them across the board are doing smaller projects. Like they're doing one of the companies I talked to, like their sweet spots around like $25,000.
Hmm.
Um, and they're going to get in and out in less than a week and that's digging footings, pouring concrete, the whole thing. So they're doing so many more. They're doing a couple hundred of those projects a year versus, a lot less bigger projects. And that was like kind of common across the board was everyone was doing smaller projects. They would maybe do um everyone kind of had the same most people had the same idea that it's cool to do bigger projects, and they like to do one or two a year possibly, but they never make as much money as the smaller projects.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a million more headaches, and it's just a lot more hand holding with the client throughout the entire process. So that was like a very common thread throughout everybody that I talked to. And what I really took away from that was it comes down to a repeatable system. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
something that is like copy paste, um, just onto the next one. So it was very cool to talk to the salesperson. So one of the companies there, um, they brought their salesman. So he was like kind of walking me through that side of it, how they go from the lead, how they divvy it up. So each salesperson has a different territory, and they go, to the call. They'll handle that whole side of it. They'll handle from the lead coming into the closing of the deal,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll do a little design for them. Again, a lot of these are much simpler, so they're not going to require a super complicated design process and everything. But then after that point, they kind of hand it off to a project manager, and the job is just taken to completion from there. And they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be holding anyone's hand throughout that process. They just have the system really locked in, where it just makes everyone has their part in the process, and it makes it so much easier. And in the end, I think if done right, it can make for, I don't want to say a better experience for the client, but a really good experience for the client. Like, you're never going to be able to duplicate the experience that we give a client, because our clients, like, they like the fact that we're there. I'm the one that designed it, and then I'm going to be there on site every day. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a certain type of client that we have that really loves that process, but there are other ones that just want like a smooth transaction. They want to have the deck designed, sold, built, and taken care of, and they don't need that, like, super personable interaction. They just want something that's smooth, feels organized, feels just feels complete, like a complete process start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what all of these companies have figured out a way to do. And that's why they've created this repeatable process and are able to do a couple hundred decks a year. Because to me, that sounds like just insane.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I feel like if you have people in very specific roles, then that is a great way to do it. But I also feel like I like the way that we do it because no one gets bored. Everyone's always, which maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe we do like just live in too much chaos or something. But I like that it's like uh
Yeah.
no one's getting bored because everyone does a little bit of different, like they have a little bit of something different every day to do.
Yeah.
Um but I mean, hey, we can always look at our systems and revamp if need be. And that's another thing.
Absolutely.
We're very nimble, so if we do want to just try something new, we can, and we do have that flexibility. So,
We could throw out the whole process today and start a new one
oh
tomorrow. No
gosh,
problem.
yeah,
It'd be so
let's
easy.
do that.
Yeah. Um, I think the one thing that we can fall back on as a level of comfort is that I'm not capable of running a business like that, so you don't have to worry about that. Like, this is the type of business that I can run,
Yeah.
and that's something that you see talking to these other people. You see that they're like a little bit different in the way that they look at things, and they have a distinct different personality. I think not from
Hmm.
like a hanging out perspective, but like from a how they think about things, how they're implementing systems, just like the way that their brain works in a business capacity.
Hmm.
You can tell that it's different from the way that mine works, and that's what ultimately you need to be aware of, is like, what is your skill set? What are you good at? How can you scale those things? How can you turn the things that you're good at into your business model? And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be just scale until you're huge, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, myself included, are not going to be good at that. And it's just going to lead to failure probably a lot sooner with a lot more problems along the way than if you just evaluate, hey, these are things I'm good at. I'm really creative. Hey, I like to make these videos. I like to build cool projects. Let me figure out how to use all of those things and create a business around it instead of just, hey, we're a deck building company. So the fastest way to success is to just build hundreds of decks and just keep scaling.
Hmm.
Some people aren't going to be able to do that. Myself, I'm at the top of that line of people that are just not going to be good at that. So be real with yourself. And if you're hanging out with people like that, soak up as much as you can, figure out ways that you can, maybe take some of the stuff that they're doing, implement it into your business, but don't feel like you have to follow that as a blueprint.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting when people ask like, "Oh, have you ever thought about like franchising or like, opening up different crews and like or like selling your process or whatever?" It's like, "What? I'm not even sure what we would franchise. Just
Yeah.
figuring it out on your own." And
It would be kind of fun to just like, yeah, here you go. You get to use our logo. Here's like, a couple ideologies behind how we like to design stuff.
yeah, listen to our
And
podcast. There's some information in there.
and that's it. And
That's all you
then
get.
that's kind of part of the package, like the chaos, like, no, we're not going to give you anything.
Yeah,
Just
we just
this is
franchise the
just go.
chaos.
Go. Yeah. The less you know, the better, less experience, the better. It's going to work great. Um, but no, I thought that we could maybe talk about brainstorm, have a couple referendums
Hmm.
around some different process things that we could maybe implement
Yeah.
that the larger scale businesses are doing that we're not right now.
So are
Um,
you talking about like from like you've sold the job
yes,
to when the job starts, like the stuff that happens in between?
yes, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the biggest part that we could still become a lot more efficient at with
Hmm.
our leads. I don't think that we need a lead CRM, something that's going to like track down where we're at. With touching base with people again, like all that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. I don't think is really. I don't think that's going to be a huge help to us because we can only do a certain amount of projects. And as weird as this sounds, I think like people say in sales, you got to follow up, you got to touch base with somebody like 10 times. There has to be like 10 points of contact with that client to get the sale on average. And I feel like the people that really want to hire us, like they're going to be as much part of the process as we are. So I don't feel like it's going to be the best thing for us to like touch base with somebody 100 times, like just to get that sale because
Yeah.
well, we can't do every project anyway. And,
Right.
we just have to like figure out who are the best people to work with. And those people are going to put in not as much of an effort as us, but they're going to be as engaged in the process. It's not like you have to like, strong arm them or
Yeah.
touch base with them until they sign the contract. So I
Yeah.
think
And we don't
our
sell a product that lends to that kind of sales process, I don't think. Like you're never gonna like bug somebody into buying a $250,000 deck. Like
yeah,
that's not how the process really works. So it is better to have like an involved buyer that
yeah,
is part of the process for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, and I think that was just such a cool thing to listen to and to hear was that these companies are so much bigger than us, and yet we're doing the projects that we're doing are like at the high end of what they might do like once a year or so. So it's just cool to see that other side of it
Hmm.
and know that like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, small projects aren't bad. Small projects are fine. And I still would like to incorporate at least a couple more on that smaller side, not super cookie cutter, but like things that just have less facets to them that we can get in and out and have like a quick win for everybody, like see that transformation and all that kind of stuff. But what do you think
Hmm.
would be the number? Like, what's one thing within our process from after we sold the job to um, completion that you think could be revamped or improved on?
I'm trying to think of what we do between that. We turn the rendering into a plan, and
Hmm.
that's on you. You do that right now. Um,
Yeah.
do you think that's something that you could delegate to maybe Anthony, and then part of like getting it ready to send to whomever we send it to now. Uh, like maybe if he did that, he took the rendering, got it ready to send off to. But even then, I don't know if that would work because it's so design focused and that's so like in your brain and your realm. But
Yeah.
maybe if we could like do that together with like the takeoffs, that could be a good, so that it's all ready.
Yeah, well, but you're not going to know what the takeoff is till after
That's true.
the architectural drawings are done, and that really is more part of the design process because what I'll
Yeah.
do is I'll draw up the design, with the 3D rendering software,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just like an artistic representation of what it will be. It's not a blueprint. It's not a
Right.
construction drawing. So what I'll do is I will take that, I will send it off to the architect, and I'll send all the dimensions and all those kind of things. And then there's always a list of important design details that need to be considered by them. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is going to have no collar ties on the roof, so we need a structural ridge. Um, we're going to be stepping down out of the house like 3 steps, so we're going to be just below the rim joist. So we need a concrete foundation connection at the ledger. Different
Mm-hmm.
things like that are more design focused than build focused. So I think that part is works pretty good. That
Yeah.
the drawings are done, they get uploaded to the drive, and then Ant can access them, and then he can do the takeoffs from there once all of the dimensions and the lumber sizing and the spans are all figured out. He can take it from there and do the takeoff, and that's really where the build process I feel like starts. That's when it
Yeah.
goes from the design part's kind of done. Now we're going into the build process.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about this, this is a lot you because right now you are doing the lumber takeoffs, so it's like,
So we found the bottleneck. Is that what you're saying? We really did.
right
We
now
found
it's
the
me just bugging you. Like, did you do the plans yet? Can we get that to the? We got to get the permit ready.
yeah,
Can we do that? And then you do that, and then you do the lumber takeoff, and I do the permit, but that's usually like a joint
collaborative.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, just because every town's different, and they're like they would need different things. So,
such a pain.
hmm, I'm not sure we're doing it in the most efficient way, but I'm also not sure how to fix it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say fix it because it's not like it's not going well, but there's, you can always be improving. You can
True.
always be changing and improving.
Yeah, for this job, I did write a note down of all the because one of the things we are going to try to do was have everything ordered and ready before we even get to the job.
Yeah.
That was our goal. So I did make a checklist of like what needed to be ordered and what needed to be like figured out and what takeoffs needed to be done.
Yeah.
Was that helpful at all?
It definitely was because although, you kind of gave it to me, you're like, I want all this stuff ordered before we start anything. And I loved the sense of urgency with that. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, well, what I'm about to say, I could also just finish with not with that attitude.
Yeah,
So I don't want to say it wasn't
I can feel that
possible,
coming.
but there was, I would have had to have a little bit more notice if we wanted to get everything ordered before the job started
Mm-hmm.
because the couple things that pretty much everything's figured out besides colors at that point. Like we have the
Yeah.
series, like everything's done. So I don't want to at that point we hadn't picked out all the final colors yet with the client. And I don't want to be like, okay, you have one day to pick this. So I
That's true.
presented everything. We had a design meeting and we looked at all the samples and we put them all together and all that kind of stuff. Looked at the rendering,
Mm-hmm.
fleshed out a couple different options. And then I said, okay, by the end of the week, I'd love to get this stuff ordered. So, you have about a week to look at the renderings that I've given you,
Yeah.
look at the samples and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these decisions aren't affecting the price. So it's within, the same series or the same line. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really just a color option at that point.
Yeah.
But having that in front of me, like, did help because now we've got everything ordered. I mean, I think that's one of the things that's made this project go so smooth already, even though we're just in the framing stage. There's none of those like little decisions like, okay, what materials go in here? How is this going to be? How's this going to look? What's the finished detail on this? Like, how does it need to be framed? Like that stuff was all figured out. So we're less than 2 weeks into the job, and everything has been ordered from all the finishes to ceiling, the stone veneer, all of that stuff has been ordered and is ready to go. So I think that was super helpful to have just that encompassing list of these are all of the different products that we're going to need on site at
Hmm.
some point. And especially with a bigger project, it's easy to just say we still have a couple weeks for this. We don't want to get the job site too clogged up with too much material that we don't need yet.
Yeah.
And that can go from being a true statement that holds a lot of weight to an excuse and a crutch that you lean on. Like, no, we don't. It's going to make the job site too crowded, so let's not order that yet. Let's not even figure out what's going to, what the material takeoff is.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely helped. I think the biggest thing. I don't think that we're doing anything wrong or like
I feel
we
like we're in
are.
trouble. We just made ourselves be in trouble. Like we need to fix things.
Yeah, I know. It's like we just sent ourselves to the principal's
Yeah.
office. We're like, well, what did you do wrong?
I don't
Tell
know. I
me.
don't know
I'm
yet.
not sure. But I think this is the best way to do this exercise is
Yeah.
like pull yourself on, try to find the things that you're doing wrong so that you can improve it. Like
Yeah. I like
nothing's going like so sideways that it's like, okay, this needs to be fixed.
that.
And that's good.
Yeah.
But also you can just become complacent with like, hey, things are running like pretty good. It's like, we're building these projects and no one's killed each other yet, so we don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great exercise to figure out what are the things that we could fix or improve on to make it a little bit smoother, make the
Hmm.
jobs get completed faster. And I think the list idea, like you wrote out a handwritten list, taped it to right next to my desk, and we're like, this is what we need. Get
Hmm.
it done. No excuses. Shut up and get it done. Or don't talk to me. I think that's exactly what you said.
Sounds like something I'd say.
It definitely does.
I do think that, like, obviously, on every job, we're going to need deck boards and lumber and ceiling material, and like we know those things.
Yeah.
Um, but another thing that we discussed is like the extras that usually the homeowner is required to purchase on their own, like
Yeah.
fans or the TV or the grill package or that kind of stuff. That is
Yep.
another thing that really slows us down because if they don't have it, then you know how are we going to frame out the kitchen if we don't know what's going in the kitchen, and how are we going to
Right.
keep going if we can't move around, work around that kitchen detail. So that is something that definitely we could get. And it's like each client is so different with how they handle those things. Cause some clients are like, I don't know, you tell me what to order and I'll get it. Like,
Yeah.
and some people are like, the grill is the biggest decision I will ever make in my life. I really need time to
Yeah.
sit on this and figure out what I want.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something we could at least, I'm not sure if we, handle that any differently, but definitely move it up in the process. So then those things are there when we get there, because that would be and when you get into things like fans, like the grill is fine because that's the stuff that we do, but like the fans, the electrician has to do that kind of stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
then it might result in like having to have the electrician back out because we didn't have what he needed there when he was there the first time. So I definitely think that could get moved up in
Yeah.
priority.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that would help us the most is just having all of these things in the same place. Like I don't think it's not like the things that we're doing are not working out for us or are not efficient. If we can just put them into more of a framework of the job has been sold, this is the very next step in the system is
Hmm.
now we do all these things. We make a list of, okay, they signed on. We know what product series they're using. We haven't determined colors yet. So very next thing on the agenda is to write down all of those next decisions that need to be made and get started on those right away. So I think everything that we're doing is working out really well, but if we could have it a little bit more. Are you writing this down?
I am writing this down. Yes, I'm going to make a process about this. This is
Oh my god,
exciting.
this is really great. This is really great. Um, but having it kind of all together, like we do a lot of stuff on Google Drive. We have a job drive for each project that we're doing, and we try to put as much stuff there as possible. We have the plans, we have the renderings, we have material takeoffs there. I think just having everything in the same place where we know it's going to be
Hmm.
might improve the process a little bit more, because right now it's like that worked out great this time, like writing it down on a piece of paper, putting it right next to my face. And maybe it needs to be a combination of both, but just having that almost like not a checklist for each job, but like a process checklist. Like
Yeah.
job has been sold, contract signed. Next thing is we need to write a list of client uh I don't want to like client objectives, like things that they need to figure out and we need to help them figure out.
Hmm.
Um, and all of the things that we need to do takeoffs and order, and do that like way early in the process, and just have it all in one spot. So I think that's something that we can explore, because we don't want to have like too much in the same spot where it's like, okay, now this Google Drive thing is cluttered and there's like 100 things in there, but we're
Yeah.
finding that balance of what is going to be efficient, what's going to keep us on the right track, and
Yeah.
not be like so redundant and so overthought that it slows us down.
Yeah. And I definitely want to do it in a thoughtful way that like we like checklists sometimes get ignored because you're just so used to seeing them that it
Yeah.
just like your brain just like blocks them out. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think the things on Google Drive, it's an easy you have to go into it to access it. So it's like that gives you another excuse to not look at it. So
Yeah.
I think we will need to really get a good process that works for us
Yeah.
regarding that.
Definitely.
So
Definitely. So now that the idea
oh, I'm gonna
has
run with this.
been created and given to you, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't work flawlessly, it's 100% your fault, because I laid out
extreme
like
extreme ownership. I'll take it.
exactly, yeah, and I will give it to you. There you go. No ownership on my part. Um, that's also that's a really cool part of being at these things. Talking with the manufacturers, and they want everybody's input. Like, what do you think is going to be like the next thing that we need to do or come out with, or product, or uh, something that we need to do better.
Hmm.
And as a contractor, you can just like, kind of riff on different ideas, and say, this is what you need to do. Like, this is going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
And then you just like go home and don't have to worry about it. It's all on them to figure it
Yeah.
out and take it from there.
Then you
Like,
guys take it.
yeah. And then you can check in with them next time you see them. Like, how'd you guys make out with that? Because if it didn't work out, it's all your fault. I gave you the
It
full
was a
idea. It
brilliant
was right
idea.
there. So there was no follow through on your end, and that was where the problem occurred. So I love doing that. That's great.
That's fun.
I got to go to a I forget what like an innovation brainstorm meeting
Hmm.
with UFP up at their headquarters a couple years ago. And it was so cool to be a part of. Like, they just wanted a contractor or a builder to like kind of be part of this brainstorm group. So we were up there for like 2 days, and it was so cool because I got to be fully part of the process, feel like I had an equal part in the idea and the brainstorm and fleshing out the different pros and cons of some different things that we were talking about. And then I just got to go home and have none of the follow through or anything else fell on me. I
No
just
homework
got to be
at
there
all.
for the ideas. And I was like, this is awesome. This is like this is perfect for me. I just had to be part of the idea brainstorm, and then execution. Call me when it's done.
Yeah.
My job's over. So if you can't do it, I'll find someone that can. Anyway,
That is pretty cool.
yeah.
All right, well, we're kind of running up on time here. Do you want to switch gears into our book review?
I do. I have a couple other thoughts that I want to jump in on real quick.
Okay.
Uh plane etiquette.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? You got any big strong emotions on that?
God, so many strong emotions on that, honestly.
I feel like you probably do, honestly. It was the flight there was pretty uneventful, but the flight back had a couple really really fun things happen. So
Okay. Let's hear
the
them.
so they say, if you're going to be listening to a device, make sure you have headphones plugged in or whatever. Well, there was like
Hmm.
this really old person that was like probably like 5 or 10 rows ahead of us, and they were watching like an iPad or something, and they didn't know that their like AirPods weren't hooked up. So they were like,
Oh.
it was like, it
Like they were
wasn't even
trying.
loud. It was like kind of loud, but this guy like 2 or 3 rows ahead of us was like, FYI, they said no sounds. And I was like, oh God, it wasn't even that loud. It was like not distracting.
Yeah.
And then it didn't stop and it kind of got louder. And because the guy was probably like, I can't really hear it that good.
Yeah.
I know I have headphones, but I can't really hear it. And then the guy like a couple rows ahead of us got like he was really getting pretty incensed about it. And luckily somebody else hit the call button and told the flight attendant, and then the flight attendant came back and was like, they didn't know that it wasn't hooked up. Like it was a mistake. Take it easy.
Oh.
But this guy wasn't going to do the call button to talk to the flight attendant and get it taken care of. I think it was
Just
just going
gonna
to
rage.
escalate to the point of like having to turn the plane around. So it was I don't understand why people get like so up in arms about stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous. But so that was kind of fun. I was kind of right in the middle of wanting him to stop and wanting him to also
To keep
like
going.
to keep going and just like see kind of how this unfolds.
Yeah.
But another really cool thing that happened was well, not a really cool thing, but there was a lady in front of us, and it was like kind of turbulent, and then we were at a part where it really smoothed out, and she looked back to Sarah and was like kind of scared and was like, I think the plane stopped moving. I think the plane
Oh.
stopped. And Sarah was like, no, it's definitely still it's definitely still moving. Like if it stopped, it wouldn't really stop. It would start going in another direction, and that would be
Yeah.
down. But I think it might have been like her first time on a plane.
Oh.
She was like this old Jamaican lady, and it was really funny.
Oh, bless
And
her
not
heart.
funny, but like just it was kind of like adorable. Like, did the plane stop moving? Like, no, it definitely did not stop moving. And then she also she didn't know what was happening when the plane started banking as we were getting
Mm.
close. She's
Hmm.
like, "What's happening?" And Sarah was like, "It's the plane's just turning. It's okay." So that's pretty
Oh.
funny. And then I think it was my first experience with the end of a flight applause,
Oh, really?
group applause. Yeah. Have you ever
I've
been part of
never
that?
no. Well, I there was one time that I landed and it was like the worst turbulence as we were landing, and it
Yeah.
was like we were close to the ground and it was really turbulent, and then people were clapping after that. But I was like,
Yeah.
that feels warranted because we all thought we were about to die. But
Yeah.
like, I've never been on like a regular flight where people are just like
Clapping.
erupted applause. That seems
Yeah.
insane.
It was pretty good. And
Did
it
you
was like a,
partake?
oh, of course. Yeah. I was so excited. There was like a Jamaican school trip on our plane. So there was probably like 40 kids, like high school kids that were going to Portugal, but their layover was in Philly. So
Mm.
they kind of got it started. They had like a good solid
Aw.
core that could all clap together.
That's
And then
cute.
it just like quickly spread to everybody else. So um
Oh, that's fun.
it was great. Yeah. They were really excited. And I think for a lot of the kids it seemed like their first plane ride. So
Oh,
um it was pretty cool. It was
that's
pretty
nice.
cool. So how do you
Oh,
feel about the applause? Are you pro,
um,
anti?
if it's like just like a regular adult applauding, I feel like a little strange. But if it's like a school trip and then everyone joins in because it's like a fun experience for these kids, I feel like that's really sweet. That's like a
It was.
heartwarming thing. I
Yeah.
like that.
I agree. I agree with that.
Um, but
How
I feel
about
like,
people that stand up as soon as the plane lands?
oh my god, that angers me so much. I
It's definitely the worst.
hate that.
Um, and we had one of the high school kids was sitting next to us in the window seat, and I think it was probably his first time flying, maybe. So he didn't
Mhm.
really know the etiquette, but it was really hard not to get mad at him because as soon as it landed, he's like, can I get out first? I need to get my bag. And like the plane had just landed, we're like all the way in the back, and he had to get
Yeah, man, we
out
all
of
do.
the window seat, get his luggage from the overhead thing, and then just stand there like right in the middle of the aisle. And it's like I wanted to be like, you can wait. Like we all have to. We're not ready to get off yet,
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be a
take it
minute.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah, that drives me nuts. And it like, especially when people like immediately get into the aisle and they're
yeah.
in the back of the plane. It's like you got a solid 10 minutes here, at least,
At
to just
least,
to keep sitting. Like you do not
yeah.
need to just clog up the aisle
You
right
don't.
this second.
Absolutely not.
But
Oh, okay. We still have a book review to do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Enough with the plane stuff.
Okay.
Everyone just act cool on planes, but it was pretty fun to be a part of the group applause. I did enjoy that thoroughly. So
And no doors blew off or anything.
no doors blew off. No,
That's good.
no.
That's good.
All
Good to know.
doors stayed intact, which was great.
Did you see the video? Sorry, I don't mean to go back into this, but did you see the
No,
video of that? Like
I did. Yeah, and
they're
it's
like the
terrifying.
plane is banking and you can just like see right out of that hole and the person's just
Yeah.
like right there.
I hope they had their seatbelt on. But
Yeah.
after you see stuff like that, like when I was, it makes you think more about like, well, this is just like a door. This is a regular
Yeah.
door. It could have faulty parts on it,
Yeah.
just like any other door. And like so, as I was walking into the plane, like you're right there, and you're like
You're
entering the
looking at
hull
stuff.
of the ship. I'm like looking at all the hinges, and I'm like, how does this? Is that really strong? Is that like it's gonna be effective?
Yeah.
Um,
And all those
so
people
yeah,
in that video were so calm. And that was like the weirdest part to me. No one was freaking out.
yeah.
I would be freaking out.
I would definitely be freaking out a lot. I would be so scared.
Yeah.
But
At the very
anyway,
least, like hyperventilating or something. But everyone's just
yeah.
like kind of sitting there looking out the broken open door.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Okay, so book review time.
Book review.
So this week we read Surrounded by Idiots by Eric. What's his name?
Thomas Erikson. Was that what it
Thomas
was?
Erikson.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
It's like two first names with a son on the end.
Yeah. Great.
Um,
Great observation there.
and I was a little worried when we started reading it because like a book called Surrounded by Idiots, we always talk about like how people are always trying to make like a punchy title and then be like edgy with it, but I didn't feel like this lent that way.
Yeah.
But it's about personality types basically and how to effectively communicate with different personality types.
Yes.
And it breaks it down into 4 like main personality types. And then they color code them so it's easy to remember. And in my opinion, this book was a great start if you're just kind of delving into like personality types and like kind of getting yourself like familiar with that. I think this is a great like starting point because
Definitely.
it's easy to understand and it's only 4 when in reality there's like many more, but it's a good starting point to kind of learn the different personality types and how to effectively communicate. And while I was reading this, I was just thinking about our team and like how different everyone's personality type is and
Yeah.
how to effectively communicate with each of our people. Cause I think that sometimes I know that that's definitely something that I could work on. So it is really interesting to
We
take.
all could. It's not just you. We could all work on it. We can all get better at
It's
it.
a collaborative thing with
It is.
communication.
It is.
So the 4 types are red, yellow, blue, and green.
Yep.
I don't want to mess this up. I didn't actually write this part down, but the
I
red.
have some notes here.
Okay, then you do it.
Yeah, so we have red, which is a type of person characterized by ambition, dominance, decisiveness, competitiveness. The type of people that are going to be like born leaders. They speak their mind. They don't want to do things in the traditional way. And, it's type of people like Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, people that are just like leaders. Bill Gates type, that type of like person that's going to blaze their own trail. So,
And they're
then
very
we have
direct.
yellow. What's that?
They're very direct in their communication type.
Yes. We have yellow, which is like an optimistic person. They're very outgoing. They're cheerful. They're confident. They're the type of people that are, always going to be sort of like bubbly, very chatty, and that can be a little bit of an annoyance to some people, but they're also the type of people that are going to be like the life of the party. They have this like magnetic kind of charisma and energy to them, and they tend to always be the center of attention and people are always kind of congregating around them.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the blue personality, which is the person that hyper analyzes, the type A type of person. Why did you start like just because that's like the complete opposite of me?
No, I was laughing at your description of the yellow because you're obviously a yellow. You're very, very clearly a yellow. And you were very like, you talked, it seemed like you knew that.
No, but that's going to tie in really good with what I'm going to say at the end of this.
Okay.
So blue is the very analytical type of person, type A personality. They want to have all their ducks in a row before they get started. They want, to really get into the little details. They want to have a spreadsheet. They're going to go on vacation and have every single little time slot figured out with what they're going to do and what events they're going to go to, make their reservations. They're a planner, and they want to have everything. They want to like everything to be predictable and go according to their plan. And that's going to cause them to be a lot slower. They're not just going to jump into decisions. They're going to really analyze it and make a spreadsheet and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have green, which is the person that just wants to kind of go with the flow. They're more of a follower. They'll rather do what's best for the team than themselves. They don't want to be a disruption. They don't want to like cause a scene. They just want to kind of like go with the flow, do, what's going to kind of be like the path of least resistance. And that apparently is the most common personality type. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like you were saying, I think that it was a super easy way to start to understand personality types, because we've talked about it before, the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah,
I think
I was gonna
that
bring that
is
up.
the kind of universal, like, first thing that you'll learn about personalities in a college class or anything like that. And I can never remember what I am or what anyone else is or what the
Yeah.
things are even called, because it's like two letters and a combination, and it's just really confusing. This
Mm-hmm.
I really like because it's just four colors. So I think this makes it so much easier to identify somebody. And not everybody is going to be like, okay, you are this. It's always going to
Yeah.
be a combination of some different personality types.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be 60% red, 40% yellow. So you're kind of like a reddish orange, but it's just easier to like get the hang of it and understand it
Yeah.
because it's categorized by colors. I really liked that part of it. It made it so much easier for me to like remember and, uh, I think eventually apply it to people. You'll be able to see, oh, this is a red person. And what I was going
Yeah.
to say was, after red, I feel like, so green is the most popular.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like red is the one that is probably like the most popular that people think they are, but they're not. Does that make sense?
Oh, you think? I think that red is like has a kind of like a negative connotation.
Really?
Like you're kind well because it's broken up into like people oriented or task oriented, and then introverted or extroverted.
Mm-hmm.
And red is task oriented extrovert. So they're just bossy and opinionated and brash in their manner of communication, which I would say that I am brash in my communication, but I wouldn't
You think
I
so?
I think that I can be a bit abrasive, but I would not consider myself a red. But I did see some red characteristics in myself.
Yeah, you're
But
always
but
seeing
I
red.
but it was like but when I was like, oh yeah, I kind of do that a little bit. It wasn't like a good thing. I wasn't like proud of it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna reclassify that. I feel like red is the most over self-diagnosed, probably for men,
Okay,
because
yeah,
it's
that
like
would
the
probably make
alpha
sense.
male kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And you say like
I'm a
born
born
leader.
leader.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm ambitious. I'm decisive on the battlefield. I'm competitive.
Okay, that
Uh,
makes sense.
so I think most men, even if they're not even close to that, would probably be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely a
Oh
red.
yeah, definitely.
Um, and that's probably so you were laughing because you're like, you're definitely a yellow. I was thinking, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm probably more of a red. I'm definitely a
You
yellow,
think?
red and a yellow, but
No.
probably not.
I
Probably
think that
not.
you're
But
well,
I got caught in that trap.
and
Like, oh yeah, I'm definitely like a alpha leader. I'm like the leader of the wolf pack, definitely. So
and I think that it like in this book they talk about like a lot of they've related a lot to work, but also like your personal life. And I would say if you asked like my sister what kind of person I am, and then you asked like you what kind of person I am, you'd probably say different things because at work I'm very different than in my personal life. So maybe when you think of it, you're thinking of it all
hmm.
together. So Sarah might be like, he's a red and it's awful. So
um
Or
So
like
wait,
she might be like, "Oh, he's a green. He's very easy to get along with and very passive." But like we don't see that side of you at work, you know?
that's definitely what Sarah would say. She
That
would
you're
be like,
passive.
he's very easy to get along with, never fighting, never causing a kerfuffle or anything.
Right.
Uh, I think that was funny how you put that because I would say you have a lot of red characteristics. You're very you let your opinion be known.
Mhm.
You don't shy away from it, but in your personal life isn't your sister like the bossy one in your family?
Oh god, yeah. So
So
much
I
more than
think I
me.
think that's like really funny because I remember you saying that and like I never put it together, but you like the submissive one that just kind of goes with the flow in your
Yeah.
family?
I think if you asked anybody in my family or even like my friend group probably would say that I was like a green. I'm green. But I just kind of go with the flow. I'm easygoing. But there's a lot
Yeah,
less
maybe.
stakes in your personal life, so it's like I don't need to be bossing around anybody. My friends,
Somebody
you
needs
know?
to.
Eh,
There always needs to be like that one leader of the friend group.
yeah, and I feel like I guess when it comes to like organizing things, like sometimes I am,
Yeah.
but like between me and my sister, it would 100% be my sister.
Yeah. I think
So,
that's interesting because I initially was just thinking of professional life and business and how I would classify myself. But I would say, like, in my personal life, especially with friends and everything, I'm 100% a green. I'm just like,
yeah.
whatever anybody's doing, I literally don't care where we go. I have no opinion on anything. It's just like, whatever anybody wants to do, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to be the one making the plans. Just like, hey, let me know what everyone's doing, and if I can come, I'll come, and I'm completely fine with whatever we do. I don't care at all.
Yeah.
Um, so that's
That
interesting. I didn't
it
even
is
think of
interesting.
that. That you can really be complete opposites because I would say I'll walk back what I said about the red. I think that I am probably more yellow, optimistic, can be a little chatty,
Mhm.
and tend to annoy some people. But their personalities can be infectious
Yeah.
and charismatic, and they tend to be the center of the party, which
Yeah.
I'd love to disagree with, but I don't have evidence that disagrees with that. I will say, you know, that might be the life of the party.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's funny because I when it came to red, I was viewing it as all my negative things. And
yeah,
I would not consider myself like a born leader. I would say that I'm like a gatherer of people, but I'm not like a this is the direction we're going in. I'm more of like an organizer.
yeah.
So I would not say that I'm a red other than like the bad things. I'm a bad red.
Huh. It's fun. It's also funny how you are reading these things and you like pick out the things that you align with that you're bad at. When I just look at the things that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely red because I'm like a leader. I'm decisive, and I didn't look at I wasn't looking at like the annoying part. I'm like, yeah, I'm a yellow because I'm optimistic and confident, and my
Mhm.
personality is infectious. So I tend to look at all the positive things about myself, and that's how I picked my personality type. You looked at, oh yeah, I'm definitely a red because this is bad and this is what I do.
Yeah.
So
But ultimately, I think that like a good exercise to be like to do is to like kind of self-analyze yourself, decide what you are, and then ask all your coworkers what they think you are. Because when it comes to communicate, like this is a communication exercise. So if you're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm a red, I'm dominant, I'm assertive, I can lead anybody, and then your whole crew says like you're a whole different personality type, you're like, oh, this is probably why it's not like meshing, this is probably why my message is not coming across and we're not doing a good job at communicating.
yeah, that could definitely do it. That could
Yeah.
absolutely do it. Um, yeah, I think we're both analyze like picking our personality type from two different perspectives. Like I'm just
Hmm.
like my eyes go right to the positive things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely that. Your eyes are going to like, oh yeah, I'm probably a little bit of a red, but you're noticing all the bad things about that.
Hmm.
I think that's a really good point. Ask other people because obviously you're not going to be the best evaluator of yourself all the time.
Hmm.
You're going to gravitate towards the good things or the bad things. And it's really hard to have a completely um, you know, what do you call that? Like
What?
non-biased opinion of
Oh
yourself,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, all right. So we've, I feel like that was the big takeaway from the book was just how to evaluate different people's personality. This is a really good framework to remember like what those personality types are. There are those four distinct things, and
Hmm.
this made it really easy to remember that. But, what are some tips for like communicating with those types? I think the biggest battle is just figuring out what type of person that person is. But then there are some different communication strategies around communicating with them. So, what do you have for us
Yeah.
there?
So in the like the crisscross diagram of it, where it's like extroverted, introverted, people oriented, task oriented, um, the the advice of how to communicate with people is like how they're going to receive it, because ultimately communication is only effective if the person you are explaining something to understands and is taking in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So like when you're like a yellow is more people oriented, they care about people's feelings and they react emotionally rather than just like, so that, and I'll use us as examples for this. I feel like I take direct, like I want direct and clear communication, and that's how I give my opinion directly. So I don't need people to like kind of go
Dance
around my
around it.
feelings. I need them to be direct with me, and then I'll fix it or whatever, and then I'm over it. And like I don't take it personally. I don't get mad. Um, but I feel like you like you're a people person, so you like a little bit of a softer approach.
I like a little song and dance
And
around it.
yeah,
It's
not
more
a
of a
song and a dance, but
performance.
you like a little bit of a just a
Yeah.
like a, I don't want to say a softer blow, because not everything's like bad. It's not like we're ever like yelling at each other, but like you like it
Sometimes. Yeah.
phrased a little bit differently. And I think that like Anthony, he's very direct. Anthony loves a direct thing. He does not need any like dancing around it or anything. But this last week we were talking about something, and you were like, "What was your opinion on this thing?" And I was like, "Do you want my direct opinion, or do you want me to dance around it?" And you said direct.
Classic.
Remember that?
I can't remember what it was about. Oh yeah, I do remember. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
So
Yeah.
then I was like, "Do you want my direct feedback?" And I said it, and it was in front of Steve and Anthony,
Yeah.
and you and Steve were both like, "Oh gosh, man, she's mad." And Ant was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And I was like, "This is like a perfect example of how people receive information, because you guys took it like I was mad, but Anthony was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
You weren't mad? You
I
seemed
wasn't
mad.
mad. No, I
Are you
wasn't
sure?
mad at all.
You were
I
in
wasn't
some sort
mad.
of mood. I don't know what was up, but you were
See,
in a mood.
that's what it means. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I wasn't mad at all, and I was just giving my opinion, which I'm one to
I
do.
do appreciate
But
that
it's
in the
not,
end.
and I realize that that is not always effective. My way of communicating is not always effective. So
No,
it was a good
it is effective.
exercise. That was just like a good example to me of like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think I
I'm not.
would prefer you to be direct with your feedback and not dance around it, but I'm still just going to be like, I don't know, it's just part of my personality to like, kind of just make a big deal about it. Not in like a negative way, but just in like a funny way, like, "Oh, you
Yeah,
must be mad.
yeah,
You're mad." So that is it's important. It's important to know these things and
yeah,
just be conscious of it. It's not there's this is a framework and it's something that you can implement, but it's not a guide of this is exactly how you do this
right,
thing. It's just being more conscious of if a communication style doesn't work with somebody, you can look at it and be like you were just saying, okay, maybe the way I'm delivering this information is not the best way that they're going to receive it. So
hmm,
let me think more about them and what their personality is rather than me and how I like to give feedback. Let me think about how they're going to receive it and
yeah,
cater it that way. We always just want to do everything our own way, and a lot of times when people are talking, like especially if it's something that is more of a negative connotation, like an argument or a debate or a disagreement, we want to like think about our response before the person's even done talking, when what
Mhm.
you should really be doing is thinking about where they're coming from and put yourself in their shoes and how they're going to receive it. And ultimately, that's how you not win the argument, but that's how you get your point across in the most effective way and
Right.
um, come to an understanding faster rather than just like digging in and trying to leverage your personality type. And just if you're that red person, just barrel them over.
Mhm.
Think about if they're a blue person, very analytical, phrase it in a way that makes sense to them and put it in terms of this is what this means. And if this plan works, it's going to be X, Y, and Z. And we're going to be able to track it. We're going to get data on this, like things like that.
Mhm.
Just think about the person that you're pitching it to or communicating with. And it's something that'll just get better with time if you're conscious of it. It's not like
Yeah.
you're going to be perfect at it right away because you're definitely not.
Yeah. And I think I like the way that this was wrapped up in like the most important thing is that like when you're working with a team is that everybody ends up on the same page. So as
Yeah.
much as you might be like I've been this way for 35 years and I'm not changing my communication style because this is just how I talk and people are going to have to get used to it. It's like okay, but then your team isn't going to you're not going to get the outcome that you want if you don't like switch it up a little bit. So,
Yeah.
stick with your ways and have an ineffective team or learn how to talk to people in their language and have like a really effective like talk, and that's
Yeah.
how you become like a better leader by like learning how to talk to people who are different than you. And I thought that that was like a really good message. The most important thing is that the team ends up on the same page. I really like that message.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what are you going to give this book out of 10? What do you think?
um okay, I think I'm gonna give it an 8.4
Oh,
because
wow.
I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was well written. It was very long, and that some of the stuff I feel like could have been a little
Yeah.
but it was long, but it was a really good read, and I think it is like a great starting point for somebody who wants to learn more about like effectively communicating with different personality types. So I think
Yeah.
it was a great read. 8.4. Is that what I said?
Okay.
8.4. What do you
Great
got?
job. I'm going to go with a 6.9.
Okay.
A 6.9 and
I feel like this is a perfect example of our personality types because I like this is like a dry analytical book, and then you really liked the Arnold Schwarzenegger book, which was like much more personal and
yeah,
they had like a personal touch to it. So man, what a good
it's just proven its own point.
yeah.
That's exactly my feedback on it is it was a little dry. It was
Mhm.
it was very long. I felt like it didn't need to be that long at all.
Mhm.
But the principles in it, I really liked how they framed that. I felt like we've read a lot of stuff about personality types and communication, and I felt like this was the easiest framework to understand and just have it top of mind. Like
Yeah.
we did the Myers-Briggs things. I've done it like 5 times probably in my life.
Mhm.
I could not tell you with any type of certainty what my personality type has been every time I've taken it or what they're even called. I can't remember because it's just like I don't know, it's like a letter, right? It's like 2
Yeah, it's
letters.
four letters.
4 letters, yeah, so I can't remember at all, it's so hard to remember. So, I thought that, this was just great, it was a great framework for that, but it was long, it was dry,
Mhm.
so that definitely goes into my scoring, especially with audiobooks, I want it to be, like, an enjoyable listen,
Yeah.
because I'm listening to it in the car instead of music or radio or anything else. So I like it when it's something that's very engaging and it's like, oh, I'm looking forward to listening to more of that on the way home.
Mhm.
This wasn't exactly that, but it had great information, so I'm not going to go too low on it.
Yeah.
And in the end, it just kind of it proved the point of the book. So maybe I got to give it a couple extra points because uh, it's true. Our
Yeah.
personality types kind of proved it with
Yeah.
our scores. So
All right.
one
Well,
last thing I want to
yeah.
say
Go ahead.
before we go, I forgot to tell this funny little story. The first night that we were there in Jamaica, decorator sent us all these Hawaiian shirts, and so everybody that went, all the men had the same Hawaiian shirt, and they wanted us to wear it the first night to like the cocktail dinner and whatever. So then we
Mhm.
went after that. We went out to the bar, and there was just like 30 men all wearing the same exact shirt. And it was really funny. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody was kind of staring at us. And somebody came up to me and said, I got to ask, what's with the shirts, the matching shirts? And I was like, oh, we're actually all named Kevin. And we're part of a Facebook group, the Kevins of Kentucky. And we met and we get together once a year. And we believe in the power of Kevin. And she was like, that is so cool. Oh my God. That's awesome. And then I saw her turn around and tell her friend what I said. And she was like, that is amazing. Oh my God. Wow. So that was
That's
pretty
really
cool.
funny.
That was one of my favorite
That's
trip.
amazing.
Yeah. So
Were there any Kevins?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it was actually a
Great choice of
completely
name then. I like that.
Kevinless party. But
That's really funny.
that was funny. So that's the last story I got.
I love it. All right. Well, I picked a book. Did
Oh.
you pick a new book?
No, I didn't. I totally forgot that we do that every week.
Okay.
'Cause I'm a red. No. I'm a yellow.
You're the life of the party. You were being the life of the party in Jamaica this week, and
Exactly.
you couldn't focus.
Yeah,
I
man.
get it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I picked Hidden Potential by Adam Grant.
That's what I wanted to read. I saw that like a couple weeks ago.
Are you saying that for real?
I am saying that for real, totally.
Okay. All right. So it's The Science of Achieving Greater Things. And I don't really know anything about it. I've heard of this author before, but I don't think I've ever read any of his books. Have you?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But it came up as one of my recommended things a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't remember the name, but that was it.
Yeah. So
Great job.
Hidden Potential, Adam Grant for next week.
All right. Well, with that, we'll what do we say at the end? Till next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour, man.
See you next week.
Man.
Bagwan. What did you say?
Wagwan.
Wagwan.
Hear me now. Wagwan.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.